Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depends where you are in the world. Thank you for looking at us. This will be about a lady for whom we work in New York. The New York team told me, well, we have to speak about French and Paris and Milan shows. Why don't you speak a bit more about New York? And I said, well, why not? Who you want me to speak about? I said, well, we worked for a decade with this lady, so you should speak about her. Fine. I've got a lot of things to say. It's a very, very interesting experience. So, the lady is a pop star, and she's married with a football player star. It's Victoria Beckham. Victoria had an enormous mountain to climb. In the fashion world, most of the designers are coming from other houses, or most of the designers are coming from schools and fashion schools, and she didn't. She totally invented herself, and not at all in a celebrity feeling. She invented herself with a real taste and a real will and a real image. She is looking to what she could fit in also, and she is perfectly fit, may say, as David is perfectly fit also. And both in the family are really family, which is very bizarre. You have the feeling there is an image or storytelling, and it is real. When I went to their home, it was really a family dinner. When we finish every show in New York, we always meet for lunch after the show being the first in the morning at 10 a.m. At 1, they are always at the same restaurant, always at the same table. I'm 2 tables from there with friends of the team, and we're having lunch. And it's really, really cool. She, first, if you look at her, in her eyes, she got this light of a cleverness. She's sharp. She's listening to everyone. She's surrounded by people who all have their own task and knows what they are talking about and know how to do. She knows what she wants, and so she will be even able to move what she wants if you think that the advice or the proposition we give seems for her more relevant. This is something rare, and this is really a work of, I would say, artisan or art direction plus artisan. The first time I met her, we were speaking about, she explained to me her brand, what she wanted to do. She had a small office, the 3rd floor. I may say that 3 seasons after, she got 2 floors, and the office was even bigger. And for 5 seasons or 8 seasons after, she had even 2 offices. So the progression was incredible. When we look to the discussion, it's the same always for me at the beginning. What is the brand? Where do you want to go? What is your vision? Do you know your vision? What do you know already today? And by talking to her, I said, well, you go in New York, so you have to be British because you're British. So we have to find something who have a glimpse, a taste of historical building. That's why we arrive inside the New York Public Library. In the New York Public Library, there are different spaces. One is called the Astor Hall, with the entrance and a very, very long corridor. The first show we made, in agreement with the stylist, was on the corridor. The stone was a bit hard. The sound of the hills was not so sure, so we cover everything in wood. We had 1 night to build the whole show, and 1 evening before to be able to prepare the backstage. We will talk about the backstage. And basically we put this first show with a separation on the corridor, like a wooden frame, wall, classical, old, painted and tinted, with a door in the middle. And the goal was that the people were only first row, and the people can see the garment very near and very sharply, and they can see all the details and how she is obsessed of details and of finishing. We make 2 shows in this space, and then we move to the space in front, which was inside the library, the entrance itself, which was more square, with stairs, 3 stairs case. All was marble. Sometimes we made it in wood, sometimes we made it in fake stone. Each time we tried to match a collection. This is, you have to imagine that 8 days before, 9 days before the show, 10 days before the show, you have 50 people, 60 people coming from London. So we have, with the production, rented a building, a photo studio. Inside this photo studio, you have the photo booth, the Ciclo, where Victoria and the stylist and her assistant and the head of collection, which is an amazing Italian woman, so much talented too. You have the feeling it's our sisters in a way, looking to the models for the casting and then for the fittings. But I was saying that we shouldn't really do as it was a photo shoot. We have to bring pieces of exactly what the floor will be. We have to bring pieces where the benches or the seat will be. So we have to bring the same lighting that for the show. So when you take the photos and when you look to the looks themselves, it looks like an evidence. Is it an evidence? Well, we are doing at Eyesight exactly the same principle for the backstage, which makes the makeup artist super happy. In the backstage, we try to have, and we do on the makeup artist space, the same light that for the show space. Otherwise, how they do? You think it's an evidence? Let's say. I work also with architects, and I work on design, and could be furnitures, it could be also lamps. And each time I was confronted to a hotel with the bathroom, I always wanted and asked and request to have 2 kind of lights. In the same principle of show makeup. When a lady is coming, she's coming from the airport, she go to work, she make up, the light has to be the same as the daylight, because she's gonna go out, she's gonna in the office the light normally are super white. And then she come back, take a shower, whatever, and go out for a dinner or to see a theater or for another meeting, whatever. Then the light has to be more yellowish. Because it's not yellowish, she will see her in the mirror when she make up absolutely differently that she will be seen. That's barely never happen. So to come back, after 3 or 4 shows with Victoria, we change venue. We change venue to have a bigger venue because we needed to have more guests. We first tried to a very wide show in a space very modern. The show was great, the collection was matching, but that was not something to be built. It was just a one-time shot. And after, look to a space could be historical. Space historical, we arrived to Cipriani Wall Street, which is absolutely like a church, like a bank. It was the place where the people were coming to take the boat to go to Europe. Painting on the ceiling cupola, 3 cupola place, columns, tavatine, marble on the floor, iron in the floor. Incredible. But we have to adapt it to Victoria. So how do we adapt it? Each time was the question. Each time was which kind of material? How can we build something to look as at the beginning as it was always there? We have to seduce the space in a way. So the first show we make a huge wall in fake tavatine looking really real, and the floor in tavatine, and then the benches. And I designed benches for Victoria. In which goal? The goal are 2. The first aesthetic, the second is financial. Financial, it got less when you have your own stuff for 4 or 5 seasons. Aesthetic, because see, a show is connected to the brand, but the show has also have pieces, they need to have elements which are connected to the collection. And both are creating the staircase of the construction of a house. So how can we have something, a detail, when the real matching, the real styling will be done in the 3 or 4 days before the show? Collection arrival was late. And you do that on the body of the models with the stylist. So 3 days, leaving 1 or 2 days of styling, 3 days before the show, we come early morning in the pre-collection space, in front of that cyclo, and we bring like benches who can be painted in different colors, inspired by what we saw about the collection. Could be a light pink, could be a celadon green, could be a fabric cover, could be a cushion, could be a printed paper, cover it. So each time the benches are changing and matching something which is important in the collection or something that Victoria Beckham's faces. When we arrive in the Cipriani, after playing with this big wall, I was thinking that we need to have something more, I would say, more intimate. It's pretty difficult in this huge proportion to have something more intimate. First, I say, well, the intimacy is connected to luxury. How can we feel luxury without explaining it? There's one thing that I experiment myself, which was that walking in Manhattan seems to me that the ground, it's very hard. It's even harder than in Paris or London or Milan. And when I go inside a hotel, when you have a thick carpet, a thick wool carpet, very something which is not a 1970s stuff, but then your foot is going a little bit inside and you have this feeling of comfort. It's luxury, like it brings home. So I went to speak about it to Victoria, and I come in London with different samples of different type of carpet to discuss with her about this idea. She really loved it. And because at that time I was working with a carpet maker to design some carpet, I ordered him some big sample of 2 meters by 2 meters, almost 6 feet by 6 feet, of different colors. Seeing the collection like that, I came with almost like with one with a light blue, but I thought it was a bit cold. The other one was going to powder pink or very light pink. And when she received it, she tested with the shoes. The high heel, well, okay, but it could maybe grab, but the rest, he said, it's an amazing feeling when you walk on that. So we made the whole show. It works very well. It works very well, and the expectation we all have of the feeling of a luxury succeed. When the people come after the coffee or the tea, they arrive in the room for the show and they begin to walk on it, and you feel they calm down. Only this feeling by their foot. It was so successful this way that the way after we decided to try to make like square of carpet of 4 different colors. That was a moment that we had to order ahead. And because we order ahead, we order 5 colors, knowing that we use 3 or 4. End of the day, the stylist was speaking about chess play, and after talking all together in her office in London, normally they are both on the sofa, I'm sitting on the floor with a table and my coffee, though we arrived to explode the chess play to think where the square, which are all the same shape and dimension, could be really randomly made, some even crossing the runway, because the season, there was very few high heels, so we could make everybody walk, models included, on this carpet. What is very interesting with Victoria is each season I would come with 10, 20 different way of working in the space. Sometimes with the same material, sometimes with different material and samples. And then one is picked up, and when I come for the next season, often they want to come back to another one was shown 2 or 3 seasons ago. So it's a very interesting building again, because each time we could have a shape of ideas, and I can have classical ideas and very even risky ideas. And it's a very interesting discussion. What is the for? What is against? Do we need to elevate the model? Do we don't need to elevate? What is the collection about? What is the projection they will have about the feeling they want to have? And Victoria is really focused on having answers. And when she doesn't know, she will say, I'm not sure of that for the moment. How long do I have to decide? Which is very, very nice and smart, because she knows that vendors has timings, and there is a moment that whatever money you can have, you cannot shrink time. And as far as our purpose is not to spend more money than what we're allowed, we won't push for that. After this, I remember we have to make one of the last show in New York, because soon were the 10th birthday. So we spoke to try to create also the second step of intimacy. And I always think that curve is something that gives more elegance than a corner for girls. And I think also that the proximity of seeing when you're on a curve, you're always more beautiful than when it's a line. So we made with OSB wood, which is very cheap wood, and just made exactly as it was precious wood, and a varnish with a matte varnish, super, super smooth, benches in curve with 4 rank of benches, higher each one, on curves, and then in the middle there was also a round of benches. And after that show, we had a long discussion saying, well, soon is your birthday. Do you want to begin your birthday in New York? Do you want to make your birthday in London? How do you... it's really a strategic point of view. And if we go to more intimacy, won't it be nice to make something with less people? Something where, because it's a birthday, you could be yourself more with the audience, as if you were inviting them home. These ideas went up and came back to say, yes, let's try that in New York, but make it very, very modern. Make it very modern. And that is also what I was always thinking. When a designer say red, you have an idea of red in your head. When another designer say red, you have another idea of red. And when she say modern, which from outside could be just a classical, almost world with no sense. What is modern? When we speak about modern art, it's early 20th century. But for her, this word modern has absolute aesthetic, absolute proportion, absolute material. There is her own vision inside, which is super positive when you work long time with a designer, and when you still focus on listening. Jack Johnson is saying to listen is to learn back. So we made the cubes and shapes with sharp angles, all made in copper, and there was an accumulation downstairs, and we choose really beautiful 19th century salon who belongs to a school Upper East Side, and the maximum was like 72 people. They had 72 people sitting on this kind of gold, hyper modern, hyper unexpected in this venue, and it was really on the existing floor. So it, the floor in wood are not really even. So all the things that we worked with the production to put some fabric under it to match. It was a very interesting work because every details was followed, and Victoria with welcoming the people. So the concept of the home was totally done. Even the light had to be hidden somewhere. There was really a look to integrate everything in this feeling of home. After this one, it was the birthday. Victoria had the choice to do it. Am I staying in New York? I'm going home. And she was right. She went back home. And the research in London was easier in venues because classical venues and historical venues in London and museum are quite a lot. Here we are. What can I say else? That she is an amazing, amazing woman and very elegant. Thank you.